Alright, hey guys, and welcome to episode 8 of Player 2 Reviews, where today I'm going to be doing my first Dreamcast review, and I wanted to do one that not many people have heard of, but really should have, and that is Elemental Gimmick Gear. Let's take a look. Elemental Gimmick Gear, otherwise known as E.G.G, is an unknown action-adventure game created by an even more unknown game developer, Birthday. It was released in late December 1999 for the Dreamcast after being pushed back from the original development on the Sega Saturn. And although it was a fantastic way to bring in the new millennium, the game quickly turned into yet another sleeper hit for the Dreamcast. Elemental Gimmick Gear's story follows the role of a mysterious man who was discovered sleeping in a coma inside of a clunky-looking mech-like vehicle while excavating some 5,000-year-old ruins. Your character, originally known as the Sleeper, awakens to a world slowly being destroyed by strange tentacles and monsters which seem to be emerging from the very ruin he was discovered in 100 years prior. Your character awakens with no memories of his past, and the game follows your actions as you try to not only figure out what is causing the world's destruction, but also as you try to piece together your past and ultimately who you are. Despite some questionable translations and pacing issues, the story actually gets surprisingly deep, and has a fair amount of shocking moments, and will certainly have you wanting to discover more and more, which will carry you through to the end. The gameplay for E.G.G is best compared to the Legend of Zelda series meets Metroid, for a multitude of reasons. The combat plays out very similar to the classic Zeldas, as an overhead view, except in this one your main attack is a punch from your mecha unit, as opposed to a sword from the Legend of Zelda. The attacks can be a little clunky at first, and take some time to get used to, but once you do it's pretty smooth sailing. The other attack you start off with comes in the form of curling into a ball and spinning into your enemies. This move also allows your character to move around a lot faster than on foot, but does cost a point of energy each second you are spinning, so you have to put some thought into when you want to use it. This skill is a really neat feature in the game, and becomes extremely useful and fun later in the game when you have more energy to spend. Speaking of energy, this acts as your health for the game. You start off with 25 points, but you can find energy tanks throughout the land which will add an additional 25 points to your total, and are extremely rewarding to pocket when you do find them. Yep, that's right, spinning around as a ball collecting energy tanks. It does sound a little familiar, and you will love it all the same. On top of finding energy tanks, there are all sorts of other upgrades, items, and gadgets to find as well. Your attack, defense, and mind skills all upgrade by finding 3 capsules for their respective skills. You'll also find elemental upgrade skills which will act as your magic attacks throughout the game, as well as open up areas you were previously unable to access before. Each come with their own cool effects, starting with a simple fireball and moving onwards to giant earthquakes and flashy lightning storms. Another notable upgrade is the wire arm, which acts as an ability to extend your arm outwards to grapple over chasms and gaps throughout the game. Once again, if you're familiar with the Zelda series, then you'll be right at home here. The game has a load of puzzles in the dungeons as well, and every one of them is just difficult enough to leave you feeling satisfied for figuring them out, but never tough enough to pull your hair out. In fact, the game's difficulty balance is almost spot on, except for one particular enemy that never seems to be in the right place for what your progression level is, and always seems to drop me if I'm not on my toes. Other than that, the game is just right, including the boss battles, which are actually fought in a 3D style as opposed to the rest of the game. These make for a great change in scenery, as well as for some epic fights, though honestly, the game would have been just fine without them, and I have a sneaky suspicion that these were only added in afterwards when the game switched to the Dreamcast from the Saturn. Other than the boss battles, everything is played out in a beautiful 2D environment. Every background is hand-drawn, with certain moving effects added in to really bring the world to life. and to be honest, you really need to see it in person to really appreciate just how good it actually looks. Sadly, this footage just can't quite capture the whole effect. The colors and details are just brilliant, and you'll really feel yourself escaping into the world as you play through the game. However, any 2D world is only as gorgeous as its soundtrack, and in this case, E.G.G does not disappoint. The soundtrack is very fitting for the world, and will only help engross you further into the gameplay. It actually has a 10 times better jewel case than the game itself. It's pretty cool looking. Overall, Elemental Gimmick Gear is once again a shining example of the amazing library of hidden gems on the Dreamcast. With the perfect combination of Zelda and Metroid and deep sci-fi storyline, there's a little something for everyone in here. So if you're looking to expand your Dreamcast library with another gem, I certainly recommend giving it a try. A wise man once said that the only question that really matters is it fun? And for this one, I can certainly say without a doubt, it sure is. Alright guys, just want to say thanks again to everyone for watching my first Dreamcast review. I plan on covering many more of them in the future. Once again, feel free to comment and subscribe if you like the review, and if there are any games you may like to see covered in the future, feel free to mention them below as well. So anyway, be sure to check back soon for some more gaming coverage. This has been a Cartridge Bros Player 2 review, and we'll see you next time.